Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to invite you to stop chasing success. That's right. Stop chasing it. Instead, start becoming the kind of person success can't resist. Success isn't something you hunt down like prey. It's something you attract, like a magnet. And the strength of your magnetic pull, that's determined by who you are. Success is not something you chase like a finish line in a race. It's something you attract by the person you become along the journey. Too often, we are taught to run after success, grasping at titles, money, recognition, or status, as if it's some distant object we need to catch. But real, lasting success doesn't work that way. It doesn't yield to desperate hands. It responds to deep-rooted preparation, to quiet consistency, to the invisible yet undeniable shift in who you are becoming every day. Think of a magnet. It doesn't run around trying to pull in metal. It simply exerts its force by nature of what it is. You don't see it strain or strive. It draws objects because of what it's made of. The same applies to us. When you develop the right mindset, build disciplined habits, and lead with purpose and integrity, you begin to radiate a kind of energy that success naturally moves toward. Opportunities, people, and results align with those who have made themselves ready to receive them. Chasing success implies it is running from you, always just out of reach, always ahead. And that's what happens when you focus only on external outcomes without doing the inner work. You might hustle endlessly, but without the character to sustain success, it slips away the moment you grasp it. But when you focus on becoming the kind of person who deserves success, you won't have to chase it. It will feel drawn to you. It will meet you on your path because you become the kind of person it trusts. That internal shift is the difference between temporary wins and lasting impact. A person who becomes confident, clear, and competent doesn't need to beg for attention or approval. They embody value. They speak from conviction. They lead from authenticity. People want to work with them, invest in them, follow them. Their life becomes magnetic, not because of what they have, but because of who they are. Success is not merely about achievement, it's about alignment. You become a magnet when your actions, thoughts, and intentions are in harmony with your purpose. This kind of success doesn't depend on luck, connections, or the right timing. It depends on your evolution. And this evolution isn't glamorous. It happens when no one is watching. It's forged in the small choices you make when no one is applauding. It's built in your routines, your thoughts, and your willingness to stay committed even when results aren't immediate. People who truly attract success don't wait for the world to give them permission. They don't need perfect circumstances. They build themselves day by day into people of value, and success becomes the inevitable byproduct. This doesn't mean the road is easy. It means the work is inward first. You transform your thinking, your attitude, your standards. And as you do, your environment begins to shift. What once seemed impossible begins to approach you, not because the world changed, but because you did. In a world obsessed with outcomes, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly asking, what can I get? People set goals based on what they want to have. More money, more followers, more recognition, a better job, a bigger house. While there's nothing wrong with ambition, the question itself is rooted in an external focus. It assumes that fulfillment comes from acquiring something outside of yourself. But the truth is, the most powerful and transformative question you can ask isn't, what can I get? It's, who must I become? When your attention shifts from what you want to who you are, everything begins to change. You realize that the outcomes you seek are reflections of your identity. If you want long-lasting success, you must develop the habits, mindset, and emotional strength of someone who knows how to create and maintain that success. For example, if you want to build wealth, You must become someone who understands discipline, patience, financial literacy, and self-control. If you want strong relationships, you must become someone who communicates well, listens deeply, and gives love freely without fear or conditions. In every case, what you attract into your life is a mirror of who you are being. This is not about pretending to be someone else or faking confidence. It's about genuinely transforming your internal state so that it aligns with the outcomes you desire. You become the kind of person who doesn't just want success. You live in a way that success becomes the natural result. That shift from getting to becoming empowers you. It puts the focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your behavior, your habits, and your values. You may not be able to control when or how an opportunity arrives, but you can control whether you're ready when it does. Focusing on becoming also brings sustainability. Anyone can luck into a win, but if you haven't developed the internal capacity to handle success, you'll sabotage it, waste it, or lose it. That's why many people reach a goal and still feel empty. They chased something they weren't prepared for, and once they got it, they didn't know what to do with it. But when you grow into the person who is naturally aligned with your goals, you don't just achieve them, you sustain and expand them. There's also deeper fulfillment in becoming. When you live only for results, your happiness is conditional. You feel good only when you've gotten something. But when your joy comes from growth, from becoming stronger, wiser, more grounded, then your fulfillment is no longer dependent on the finish line. You become someone who sees value in the process itself, not just the prize. Asking, "Who must I become?" unlocks a level of personal power that chasing "what can I get" never will. It turns you inward where real change happens. It builds character, grit, and clarity. And over time, it positions you not just to reach your goals, but to be worthy of them when they arrive. Your inner qualities are the true force behind what you attract in life. Just as a magnet pulls objects based on its inherent properties, you draw experiences, people, and outcomes based on your mindset, habits, values, and character. Success isn't drawn to superficial charm or temporary enthusiasm. It gravitates toward depths, toward individuals who have cultivated discipline, courage, and resilience from within. These are the traits that build the foundation for meaningful, lasting success. Courage is another powerful magnetic force. It's not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. When you live courageously, you send a signal to the world that you're willing to stretch beyond your comfort zone. You're not paralyzed by the fear of failure or judgment. That kind of energy is contagious. It draws people who respect boldness, and it attracts doors that remain shut to the timid. Whether it's taking a risk on a new venture, speaking your truth, or standing up for your values, courage propels you forward. It positions you as a leader, not a follower, and the world takes notice. Resilience adds another layer to your inner magnetism. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, setbacks, failures, losses. It's how you respond to them that defines your path. People with resilience bounce back, not because they're lucky or invincible, but because they've developed emotional strength. They learn from pain, adapt to change, and move forward with renewed wisdom. That toughness doesn't repel success, it pulls it in. Success wants a strong vessel, someone who can carry its weight, handle the pressure, and rise from adversity stronger than before. Integrity also plays a crucial role in attraction. The world is filled with shortcuts and temptations to compromise values for short-term gain. But people who consistently operate with integrity, who keep their word, act with honesty, and treat others with respect, build a reputation that speaks louder than any resume. They attract partnerships, trust, and loyalty because others feel safe around them. Success may flirt with charm, but it marries character. It looks for individuals whose values align with their ambition. These inner qualities, discipline, courage, resilience, and integrity, are not things you're born with. They're cultivated through daily effort, through choices made when it's hard, inconvenient, or lonely. They shape who you are at your core, and that core is what determines what you draw into your life. If you want to attract more, become more. Strengthen the qualities within, and you'll become a force that success is drawn to naturally. Attraction is not something that happens through force or manipulation. It happens through alignment. When you are in alignment with your values, your goals, and your purpose, you don't need to push or chase. You become naturally magnetic. Just like a magnet doesn't strain to attract metal, it simply does so by virtue of what it is. You attract success when your internal world matches the outcomes you desire. This isn't about being passive. It's about becoming so aligned with your vision that effort feels focused, intentional, and fueled by clarity, not desperation. When you operate from a place of force, trying to control everything, obsessing over timing, or trying to manipulate outcomes, you actually create resistance. The energy you put out when you are anxious, uncertain, or desperate pushes what you want further away. But when you're calm, grounded, and confident in who you are and what you're building, you send out a different signal. That signal says, I am ready. I am becoming. I am aligned. And alignment speaks louder than effort alone. Being aligned means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are working together, not against each other. You're not saying you want success while simultaneously doubting your worth or sabotaging your progress. You're not trying to appear successful while making choices that contradict your values. Alignment brings integrity to your journey. It means that what you say, what you believe, and what you do are in harmony, and that harmony is powerful. It creates a frequency that draws opportunities, people, and experiences to you that match your energy. This kind of attraction doesn't mean you don't work hard. It means your work is fueled by purpose, not panic. You're not working to prove something or to impress others. You're working because it's part of who you are, and that authenticity shows. People can sense when someone is genuinely aligned versus when someone is performing a role. The aligned person isn't perfect, but they are real, they're consistent, they're clear on who they are and where they're going. That kind of presence has a gravitational pull. You don't need to shout for attention when you're aligned. You don't need to constantly hustle for validation. Your energy speaks for you. And energy is something people feel before you ever say a word. When you walk into a room, your alignment shows in your posture, in your tone, in the way you listen, the way you carry yourself. It shows in your choices, your boundaries, your habits. You become someone who doesn't chase anything because you know you are building yourself into someone who attracts everything that is meant for you. This doesn't mean life becomes effortless, but it does become clearer. When you stop forcing and start aligning, you begin to trust the timing of things. You focus more on becoming and less on grasping. You release the need to control outcomes because you're focused on controlling the only thing that truly matters, who you are becoming each day. That sense of alignment turns you into a magnet, not by force, but by presence. Attraction is not just about what you pull in. It's also about what you push away. Many people focus on the positive traits they need to develop to attract success, but they overlook the equally important truth. Certain attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors repel the very opportunities they claim to want. Just as your strengths and values act like a magnet, your negative traits can create invisible walls that keep success at a distance. The way you think, speak, and act all influence whether doors open for you or close silently behind your back. Negativity is one of the most powerful repelling forces. When you constantly focus on what's wrong, on who's to blame, or on how unfair life is, you create an environment that repels growth, creativity, and progress. Negative energy is heavy. It slows momentum, drains others, and clouds judgment. People don't want to work with or invest in someone who carries a cloud over their head. Opportunities don't stick around for someone who complains more than they commit. If your energy is rooted in criticism, fear, or defeat, success senses that and stays away. Self-doubt and insecurity act as silent barriers too. When you don't believe in your own value, others will sense it. You may have talent, but if your energy says, "I'm not enough," the world will respond accordingly. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's the belief that you are capable and worthy of growth. Without it, your potential remains untapped, not because you lack ability, but because you've unintentionally closed the door on your own success. Success is not a random event that shows up uninvited. It is a response to preparation. Too often, people wait for the right time or a stroke of luck, hoping that something or someone will change their lives overnight. But success doesn't arrive because of hope. It arrives because you've made yourself ready for it, mentally, emotionally, and practically. Preparation is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It is the invisible groundwork that determines whether you're simply wishing for success or positioning yourself to receive and hold it when it comes. Preparation is more than practice. It's about becoming. It's the process of shaping yourself into a person who can not only reach a goal, but sustain it once it's reached. Without preparation, success is a moment. With preparation, it becomes a lifestyle. Think of someone who wants to lead a team. They might focus on the title, the authority, or the recognition that comes with leadership, but if they haven't developed patience, communication skills, emotional intelligence, and a sense of responsibility, they may find themselves overwhelmed and ineffective the moment they get the position. The opportunity came, but the readiness wasn't there. The world offers countless examples of people who found themselves in positions of success, financial, professional, or personal, only to lose it just as quickly. That's because success has weight. It tests your character, your resilience, and your ability to stay true to your values under pressure. Preparation builds the strength to carry that weight. It teaches you how to handle challenges, navigate failure, manage success without ego, and make decisions from a place of wisdom, not impulse. Success doesn't just require skills. It requires a mindset. You have to prepare your mind to think differently, to expect resistance, to handle uncertainty, and to persist when others give up. This preparation happens quietly in the early mornings, the late nights, and the lonely moments when you choose growth over comfort. It's found in the books you read, the disciplines you adopt, the sacrifices you make when no one is watching. These choices don't always produce instant results, but they are shaping you into someone who can meet success head-on. Preparation also signals seriousness. When you prepare, you're telling the universe and yourself that you're committed. You're not just dabbling, you're developing. You're not waiting for opportunities to fall in your lap. You're getting ready so that when they appear, you're not scrambling, you're stepping forward with confidence. That kind of readiness is rare, and because it's rare, it's respected. People notice it. Opportunities find it. Success rewards it. Being prepared means you are building the capacity to endure, to innovate, and to grow beyond a single moment of victory. You don't want success to arrive and find you unready. You want it to arrive and find you expectant, grounded, and capable. Preparation ensures that when the door opens, you don't hesitate. You walk through it knowing you've earned the right to be there. Not through luck, but through deliberate and relentless growth. Your personal growth determines your gravitational pull. The more you grow, the more you draw into your life opportunities, relationships, breakthroughs, and resources. Growth isn't just about acquiring knowledge or skills. It's about expanding your capacity to think, feel, act, and lead in new ways. It's about becoming someone whose presence naturally draws attention, trust, and collaboration because there's substance behind the surface. Just like a planet with greater mass has a stronger gravitational field, a person with deeper growth exerts more influence and attraction. People who prioritize growth operate on a different level. They don't just react to life, they respond with intention. They don't resist challenges. They seek out ways to use them for learning. Their energy feels different because they carry the wisdom of experience, the humility of failure, and the strength of transformation. That inner development gives them presence. And presence isn't something you can fake. It's felt. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're moving forward, even if no one else sees the effort yet. Growth changes your standards. What once satisfies you no longer feels enough. You raise the bar, not out of ego, but out of clarity. You begin to recognize what aligns with your purpose and what doesn't. As you grow, your environment shifts. You stop settling for distractions, for unhealthy patterns, or for shallow success. You attract people who are on a similar path of evolution, and you naturally move away from those who are committed to staying the same. Your world becomes a reflection of your development. Your gravitational pull isn't just about attracting others, it's about attracting responsibility. When you grow, you become capable of handling more. People trust you with greater challenges because they can sense your capacity. You don't need to prove your worth through loud declarations. Your track record speaks for itself. Your consistency speaks louder than your ambition. The stronger you grow, the more people want to align with you. Not because of what you say, but because of who you've become through the work you've done behind the scene. This kind of growth doesn't happen passively. It requires intention and repetition. It happens when you commit to doing hard things, not for the result, but for the process itself. You read when others are scrolling. You reflect when others are reacting. You show up on days you don't feel like it. Each time you stretch your mind or challenge your comfort zone, you're adding to your internal weight. And with that weight comes more gravity, more magnetism. As your gravity increases, so does your influence. People listen differently. Doors open that once seemed sealed shut. Solutions come more quickly because your mind has expanded to see angles that used to be hidden. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. That transformation is the reward of personal growth. It's not instant, but it's inevitable when you commit to becoming more than you were yesterday. The stronger your inner core becomes, the more naturally success moves into your orbit. Your environment mirrors your identity. Who you are becoming shapes the people you attract, the challenges you face, the opportunities that arise, and the energy that surrounds you. When you evolve internally, the external world doesn't stay the same. It shifts to match your new state of being. The quality of your life isn't just a reflection of circumstances, it's a reflection of who you are at your core. This is why deep, lasting change starts from the inside out. You don't need to chase better conditions. You need to become someone for whom those conditions naturally exist. As you raise your standards, you begin to attract different people. When you value honesty, you start to repel manipulation. When you become more focused, you no longer tolerate constant distraction. When you embody discipline, you naturally distance yourself from chaos and inconsistency. It's not always conscious, but it's always happening. People sense your values by how you live, not what you say. And those who resonate with your new frequency will find their way into your life, while those who don't will slowly fade away. That's not rejection, it's alignment. Growth demands that your external world adjust to your internal progress. This adjustment can be uncomfortable, especially when it means letting go of relationships, habits, or environments that no longer fit. But clinging to what's familiar only delays what's possible. Every time you elevate yourself, your surroundings are called to rise with you, or be replaced by something that matches your next level. That's not arrogance, it's necessity. You can't soar while dragging weight that belongs to a past version of yourself. When your identity strengthens, you begin to attract not only people but also opportunities that reflect your readiness. A person who has developed confidence and clarity will see possibilities that a fearful mind overlooks. They'll recognize openings where others see closed doors. They'll attract trust from mentors, teams, and partners because their energy communicates dependability and intention. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. Your growth speaks volumes without you saying a word. This mirroring effect isn't limited to people and chances. It extends to how the world treats you. If you carry yourself with self-respect, others treat you accordingly. If you walk with purpose, life responds with direction. If you operate from a place of contribution rather than scarcity, abundance begins to show up in unexpected ways. Everything around you begins to shift because you are no longer sending out signals of fear, doubt, or confusion. Instead, you emit clarity, strength, and vision. And that is what returns to you.